Ever spent 10 hours reading a book only to realize you could have gotten the same idea in just 10 minutes because most of that content was padding? Yet, it's too risky to only read summaries because you miss out on good stories and nuances that make ideas stick. And half the time, you're unsure if the summary captures the book ideas correctly in the first place. So how do you know when a summary is enough or if you need to read the full book instead? This is what most people get wrong. They think they have to choose between one or the other. The best way to save time and learn more is to use both. Know when each one comes in and how to use it. That's why we've built a simple flowchart to make the choice crystal clear for you. When to choose a book, a summary, or both, that really depends on your goal at the moment. And here are the three most common ones. You're exploring books for a new topic, you need to achieve a specific goal, or you're revisiting a book that you've already read. Let's start with the first scenario, exploring a new topic. Exploring something new, start with a summary. In 15 minutes, you'll know if a book is worth 8 hours of your time. Let's say you're curious about being more influential and persuasive at work. You've heard about books like Influence, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Pre-suasion. But you're not sure which one deserves your time. The best way to find out is to pull up a summary. Let's see what we can find online when we search for Influence book summary. At a glance, we see that Influence covers 6 techniques of persuasion, including reciprocation, consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. On the other hand, How to Win Friends and Influence People is about techniques to handle people, to make them like you, win people to your way of thinking, and so on. In a few minutes, you've got the gist of each book, enough to make an informed decision on which ones might be the most relevant for you. But of course, this doesn't mean that you have read the books yet, and you don't really know the concepts, nuances, or how to apply them in real life. And not all summaries are created equal. Here's an example of a free summary on Reading Graphics, where you can get a visual overview of a book even more quickly with specific examples and tips that you don't usually find elsewhere. With a premium plan, you can also access the expanded text summaries with tips and examples, as well as audio and infographic summaries. So if your goal is to explore a book or topic, start with summaries. If a particular book sparks your interest, then dive deeper. If not, keep going with summaries. This process will help you to curate the best books to read and minimize time wastage. Now, let's move on to the second scenario. Achieve a specific goal. To tackle a specific goal or problem, a quick summary or even a full book isn't enough. You likely need multiple skills and perspectives. Let's say you've got to pitch a big project to your CEO next week. Your career might depend on this one presentation. How can you learn enough in the limited time available to succeed? Most of us will start with some online research on Google or YouTube or Ask AI. You'll probably land up with some tips and suggested book resources for a successful pitch. For example, Influence teaches you 6 persuasion triggers. What the CEO wants you to know gives you strategic perspectives to consider. Smart brevity gives concrete ways to get to the point. The back of the napkin teaches you to persuade using sketches. And Storytelling with Data teaches you how to make data persuasive. Each book represents a piece of the puzzle, and together, they prepare you for the real thing. But realistically, you won't be able to finish all 5 books by next week's pitch. The smart move? Skim the summaries to see the big picture and select the most important ideas from each one. Then dive into the one book that gives you the highest payoff. Let's say your pitch involves a lot of data, so you might want to start by making sure that you present them in the most effective way. Effective application lies in the details. That's why you want to mine the full book for examples and inspiration and adapt them for your pitch. But if none of the books match your goal exactly, then just gather key ideas across books and zoom in on those that are repeated by different authors. So you see, there is no need to read every book to get the results that you want. It's more effective to do just-in-time learning by fitting the learning to your goals. Finally, you might want to revisit ideas from a book that you've read. Ever finish a book, then realize you can't remember the details months later when you actually need them? That's normal. Most of us forget 50 to 90% of what we read if we don't revisit it. But with review and reinforcement, retention can jump to 80 to 95%. And this is where the last scenario comes in. Back in scenario 2, you used storytelling with data to nail your CEO pitch. Applying ideas like this helps you to remember them. But without review, even those will fade over time. Imagine it's 6 months later and you have another big presentation due in 2 days. There's no way you're going to reread 300 pages. To get the highlights quickly, you just need a good summary, ideally with audio-visual options to make the recall effortless. Play the audio on your commute to refresh the big ideas, then zoom into sections of the text or infographic that you want to reinforce for your presentation. In short, use summaries as your cheat sheet to bring key ideas back into focus so you can apply them with confidence without rereading the whole book. If you need to verify specific details, just dip into that section of the book. If not, stop at the summaries for now. As you can see, the question isn't really about books or summaries. It's about when you use each one to get the best of both worlds. This flowchart helps you to decide so you can save time and learn smarter. Try it yourself. Grab a free infographic summary from Reading Graphics, linked below.